And I love that you mentioned the roughhousing and the play fighting and stuff, because it's a huge part of my background. I love it a lot. But I'm guessing that is why you like fighting the homies so much. You're always out there sparring with guys and getting into fights. Very friendly though, very friendly, competitive fights on the beach. Say more a little bit about why you value that and why you think it's so important. You mentioned particularly for men.
Martial arts were a huge part of my journey, helped teach me discipline and give me confidence. I was a lot smaller when I was younger, and I just didn't feel comfortable in my own body or out and about. And it just gave me that process to sort of understand life. Even the concept of like repetition equals improvement, like that concept is so core to everything. And you really get an obvious example of that when you train martial arts. You throw a punch once, you're bad at it, but you throw it 1,000 times and it becomes really good. You get really good at it. The same could be said for practicing handstand. You're going to be terrible at it for a long time, but eventually you master it and you can take that mindset and apply it to anything. But fighting and martial arts specifically is an amazing way to tap into those primal roots of play. And when we wrestle and spar in the park with the movement meetup group that I mentioned, it's amazing how many people come up and watch or want to join. They'll say, "Oh, can I wrestle with you guys? Can I join?"
Yeah.
There's just something innate about it that taps into our roots as humans, and it's very difficult, actually impossible, to access that part of ourselves without engaging in some form of physical roughhousing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
difficult to put into words, but it really is a powerful practice.
Yeah, I agree. It seems to be fundamental to the human condition that we all know that whether we are the men, whether our ancestors were the barbarians that fought in all kinds of wars and had to see a lot of violence to give us the beautiful gift of the life we have now, and to acknowledge that's a part of our history, and there's a part of us that likes to see it. There's a part of us that can't take our eyes away from an altercation, and I'm kind of glad that the sport of fighting is having its moment again. The UFC is incredibly popular now. When I was getting into it, they tried to denigrate it. They called it low IQ. It's human cockfighting. This is just a bunch of savage, toxic men. And I think some of the most respectable, awesome, soft, loving, caring men are also some of the most violent that I've met, because they have that Jordan Peterson quote-esque where they have the ability to be violent, but they have it under voluntary control, and they've tapped into that primal essence of themselves, and they can go and beat the shit out of each other in the gym and then hug it out afterwards and share some really cool things. And I do think that fighting is just like, I don't know, it's symbolic of life itself. It's a bit of a fight, right? And sometimes you got to have your backs on the ropes against a bigger, badder opponent and find a way to stay in there and answer the call and get back out and take your licks and learn from that, and also beat up on some people sometimes. And that's how you gain that confidence that you were speaking about. So fighting for me is obviously an awesome physical practice, but yeah, so psychologically healthy, and I think it's a massive metaphor for life as well.
We all have this inner savage, this aggression and tenacity, and having a container to be able to practice and express that is an amazing way to, as you said, become a more loving person, because you can relieve that part of yourself. You're not walking around tense with this angst. You can get this on some level through any fitness practice by pushing yourself, but there is something different about doing it with someone else. You've got a collaborative energy. There's always benefits to bringing other people in,
Yeah.
and having that container to be able to express just is an amazing way to relieve the inner savage and also to contain it. So it's especially great for men, but really great for everyone, especially in this stage, this day and age where everyone's isolated and lonely and just doing things with other people, because you can't really practice fighting alone. You could do shadow boxing and things like that, and it's great for mobility and kind of warming up and just kind of a meditative practice. But anything that gets you involved with other people,
Yes,
is really worthwhile.
All right, friends, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Radical Health Radio. We got a fresh new podcast for you every Wednesday. If you enjoyed the show, consider liking, subscribing, reviewing, and rating us on your podcast platform. It helps to spread this message of radical health. We'll see you next week.